down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Bang, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you've tuned into the the Savvy Radio Show. And you will not amaze who's in front of me. I'm telling you, I have not seen this individual physically, thank God for Facebook, but at least 11 years. When I met this child, and I want to be clear because he looks like a child, he's so young looking. He was 21 years old. He flipped a property to me for $13,000 that he locked up for $11,000. And I don't know if I could say this, his mentor at the time, actually he was his business partner, wholesaler, actually coached me, changed my world in real estate. And I remember when Mr. Tyler Davis came on the scene. You were a rock star in my world. I know who I am today, but when you were in my world, I was so fascinated about your skill of negotiating, of all the, now of course it was the prime of the market, I guess, and you were direct mailing, you were cold calling, you were an animal, and to me, you were just a young 20-year-old kid. So I'm 14. You're 31, right?
I'm 31, yeah.
And I'm 45. So I was 14 years older than you. When I saw you, now of course your mentor said a lot about you to me. He just raved about you. Was very impressed in your work ethic. Just that you whatever he shared with you, you took that ball and ran with it, it's really weird in society. People just deaf ears. Like you really. And I can't wait till we get into this interview because I'm so fascinated. How'd you become a realtor through the process and your life? But this is Taylor Davis. He is incredible. He is now roughly does about 100 transactions a year, has a full team of real estate investor / realtor / you have a real estate business. You flip properties about 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 a year. You're in Norman? Is that your main?
Yeah, I live in Norman. I work all over the metro, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Taylor, tell me, about your parents. Like you're such a great, motivated individual. How did that come about?
So yeah, my parents, growing up, I grew up in Ada, Oklahoma.
Small town.
Yeah, small town. My parents were always incredibly supportive. Always incredibly. They wanted to see their kids succeed above all else. Now, I grew up broke as a goat.
Were they blue collar? What was their jobs?
My dad worked in tree business. He's a third generation tree cutter downer.
Cool.
So
didn't know that.
One family income because they wanted their kids were their priority. They homeschooled us actually, and so my mom was
turned out amazing.
Yeah, it kind of turned out normal, which is weird, right?
I know.
But anyhow, that was always their thing. Is their kids were like their biggest thing, and so that support system. Although we never had any money or anything, and I think that also motivated me later in life to
get out of that.
To get out of that, because they always gave you the mentality of you can do it. I don't know how to do it, but I know you can do it. Go
well
do
said.
it.
So your dad had an unbelievable work ethic.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, did you help him and grow with him?
Oh man, my first job. So the exception to the tree business, well, there was a few, but that's the thing that he's pretty much done his whole life. Do you remember when Beanie Babies were a thing?
Yes.
Okay, so my parents bought and sold Beanie Babies. Like if you were flipping houses, they were flipping Beanie Babies.
Cool. This is in my generation.
Okay, so. Yeah. So
they went up to $100 for some dang.
Dude, my dad sold one for $5,000. It was $5,200. It was a Peanut the Royal Blue Elephant. It was the most rare one.
Peanut the Royal.
$5,200.
I'm gonna Google that up when you walk out.
Yeah, Google it. It's amazing. It's stupid how much some of those things went for. But when I was 9 years old, that became a craze. And
so you were entrepreneurial.
So they didn't know how to manage money, but they knew how to be entrepreneurial.
Cool.
So
and they weren't afraid.
Correct. So that
because being in a tree business, and then also flipping. I mean, they're totally
Yeah.
off.
So on the weekends we literally traveled the states and to go to these different fairs or sit on the side of the road and stuff and sell Beanie Babies. And then it was they had a snow cone stand when I was a little older, in my teenage years. And so literally my first job, I worked with my parents, like doing the Beanie Baby thing at 9. I started flipping buying and selling Beanie Babies. During that time, I had my own case that I would sell out of at like 10 or 11 years old. Yeah. And then my first, I would say, like real job was I was 13. I worked at a snow cone stand, and so I've been working ever since.
And so you were homeschooled, so you weren't around the environment. So, were you studious? Did you read? Did you read any books? Any books at that age group?
Not really outside of school. I did all my schoolwork, but I didn't really. I love Audible books. I'm an Audible learner.
Me too.
So reading actually it kind of go, unless I read out loud, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. So Audible's been the best thing that's ever happened.
Okay, so so you have this drive, you have this work ethic, you got the little hustle.
Yeah.
So your parents kind of I love the story, phenomenal story of how you even got to that point. So how'd you fall into real estate, and how'd you meet your mentor? Or was it he your first mentor at the time?
Okay, so long story short, went to a Bible college, came out of that. It was like a 1-year program, not a college, but came out of that. And I'd always been interested in real estate. Honestly, when I decided when I was 16, I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 30. That was kind of like, I don't know why that just was the number.
Because you could, right?
Yeah, that was just in my head. And I knew...
Was it with trappings from it, or it was just a goal to obtain?
I wanted, as much as I respect my parents in so many areas and want to be like them in so many areas, I wanted a different lifestyle for my family.
So you wanted nicer things.
And I wanted to change my generations. Like I wanted to change the course of our family financially moving forward.
I'm similar.
So one thing that I realize is almost all millionaires have in common is real estate. Like they almost all invest in real estate. And so when I got out of the Bible school, I was like, I didn't really want to go into ministry. I just had come out of that and felt like, all right, real estate it is. How do I do this? So
simple.
I decided.
I love it.
Yeah, I just decided, all right, let's go and let's be a realtor. That's the first thing I knew. So I actually got my real estate license, and that's how I ended up meeting Earp. I got my real estate license, and he had a home for sale by owner, and I called him no less than 20 times, trying to
negotiate or list
his house.
Oh, yeah. So you were a realtor mining listings.
Yeah, that's what I
did. They
did.
teach you in real estate school. I forgot. I went to real estate school. I never passed the test.
They didn't. They don't teach you that in real estate school.
List.
Yeah, and so it was. Well, what do I do? Well, I've got 40 hours plus a week that I'm not doing anything. I guess I can just call for sale by owner. So that's what I did. And so after calling him over and over and over, literally I called him probably twice a week every week for a few months. And he finally just goes, dude, let's grab a cup of coffee. And I was like, done, let's do it. So I went in there going, I'm going to list this guy. I'm going to list a home at the coffee shop. And
I love assume the sale, big dog.
We walk out with a kind of a game plan of working together. And because he came in with the mindset of, hey, if you can hustle like this there, why don't you hustle like this on the investment side? And it actually worked out perfect because that was what I was more interested in.
So he tried to convert you to, because you were doing retail, because that's what you thought real estate was.
Right.
And you didn't put the two together, and he was an investor trying to convert you to work on his side.
On the investor side. And frankly, that was the side that interests me more. It still does. Like I've built a career and I love my career, but I'm building my career to retire soon out of the real estate side of it to do more of the investment side of it. But that I'm kind of getting off track, but that's how we met. And then I ended up putting my real estate license inactive for a little while and just doing wholesale.
And you struck up, and you guys were on fire. Do you remember how many transactions? Because I bought at least 3 to 5 to 6. It felt like a once a week or once a month for sure. You guys were kicking out deals.
I don't know the total number. I'm gonna guess that in that year we probably did, because we worked together solidly for about a year. got to guess somewhere between 12 and 16 deals, something like that.
Well, you own some too. You guys were taking them down. And you guys had a partnership.
Yeah, and one of one of our most successful ones was actually a short-term subject to, and that was a creative one. But that was.
It's so cool that you know all this knowledge and you're still a realtor.
I sense that. Yeah, I sense what you're saying there. But I think that. Yeah,
I mean, you flipped me a deal in the middle of the hood that was on a tax lien.
Yeah. Oh, we did several tax liens, and we did one of the. I mean, we did the driving for dollars and the yellow letters and the.
You guys did everything.
We did a lot of stuff.
I remember Herb did 5,000, tape them up to the door.
Yeah. Yeah, he did which he had like a route that he did that he was like stuffed it like, and we'd get some things off that. And man, if I knew what I knew now, I probably could have quadrupled the amount of deals we did, only because there were so many deals that if having a true follow-up system, if we had a better we got a lot of leads,
like
but
a CRM.
Yeah, and now I have CRMs and stuff. And I'm sitting there going like, man, back in the day, this would have changed my world.
You know, that's interesting you bring that up. So let's talk about that for 1 second. So I've noticed that in real estate, it takes about 3 months later, or even 6 months, we'll find a deal. Is that like that as a realtor too? Like, you know, you reach out to someone, do a direct mail piece or...
A great question, and that 100% depends on the source. So the average internet lead is actually closer to 18 months out from buying, because you got to think like you may not be ready to buy right now, but you're going to kind of start looking. So that's when I'm capturing your information. You get on our website, you register.
So it's a long game.
So it is a long game on that, where a sign call is probably within the next 30 days. Like you're driving the neighborhood, there's a level of motivation that it's a little higher.
Cool.
I
love that you've mastered this craft of a realtor, because you disappeared. Like you were, I was talking to you all the time, and then
I moved to Florida.
I remember you wanted to. I remember like being frustrated. Like I was like, I have a partnership with this young dude. And he's seems to be working harder than I am, and how do we work this out? I saw your side of working really hard. He
worked hard too, and he worked smart. I worked hard, and I think that actually worked out well because I didn't have the knowledge and he didn't have the time, and that's what made that partnership great. And as a 20-year-old, I couldn't have asked for more because I learned so much.
I mean, you were seeing thousands of dollars. You own property.
Yeah.
So, do you remember?
So here's the thing.
I was there. Dude, you own freaking property at 20-something years old. That
I got to do something that a lot of kids
won't do for their life.
Won't ever have the opportunity to do. And that was, I had worked literally since 9 years old. I had a summer job every year since 13. And then when I got into real estate, I was 20 years old. When I was working at 21 years old, I remember this was a conscious decision. I remember making this conscious decision after a year. I had saved up enough money. My expenses were low. I had these different properties that were cash flowing and stuff. And I got to make the decision that at 21 years old, I wanted to be a kid for 2 years. I made that conscious decision.
Okay.
That, like, I'm going to not work. It will set me back. But when I made that,
that's cool.
I don't know if you've heard the term a life by design, right?
Yes.
So for me, that was a decision
at 21
that I designed that I could take 2 years off. And during that time, I did have a couple other little jobs that were like kind of more for fun, but I got to travel with that job, and then I got to meet my wife, and it was honestly, I had the best 2 years of my life with roommates, and we were like college kids, and I didn't have to go to college. It was awesome.
Cool. And you had income.
And I had income, and then at 23, I ended up liquidating it. It was kind of part of the plan, liquidating some of those out. And then at 23, when we got married, it was like, all right, now I'm gonna like jump back into career.
Be real,
yeah.
So you're very educated the way you talk, and I know it's a little maybe I don't know. I know you gave me the face on that one, but I'm being serious. You're like saying words like liquidate. You're saying cash flow. You are saying those things. I just want to speak life into you, Mr. Davis. Get that right.
Thank you.
How did you come up with that? Were you just massive on education when you were with Earp? I mean, I know he was always been personal development.
Earp was such a personal development. Read, learn. And you are a reflection of the 5 people you hang out with the most. I learned to love to learn. And if there's one thing I think I walked away from that relationship was I learned to love to learn. I'd always been like a curious person. I always liked learning to a degree. But that gave me, what I realized is there are certain things that I really like to learn. And I think that you go through school and high school and maybe college or whatever, and you're forced to learn, and you're learning things that maybe you don't like to learn. And then I realized there are things that I love to learn. And so personal growth and personal development, I love mindset. I love financial stuff. Like those are the books that I gravitate to. Cool. I don't like to read fictional, like Heidi.
So you were fascinated, and so you just dove into real estate at that time.
Yeah.
So then you went and played for a while. I mean, people would die to be in your position. I mean, I'm fortunate myself. What made you become a realtor during that process? And like, so you kind of like got married, and you're like, okay, I needed
to put a big boy job together, is what I felt like.
That was
real estate. And so I became a realtor. I knew what I was doing. And my first year in real estate, as I decided to be a big boy, I did 24 deals my first year by myself.
Well, the average is less than 1 a month.
Yeah, it's 8 a year right now.
Yeah.
8 a year.
But people think that they're rich or they're a realtor.
Yeah.
They're broke.
Yeah.
And they're paying $2,000 a year in MLS fees.
In MLS fees. Yeah. I mean, it costs a lot to be a realtor. But what I love is I've had a game plan for building a business and an exit strategy for my real estate career. And so you mentioned, hey, you know all this and you're still a realtor.
I know, I was just teasing you.
I know, but it's because I have an exit strategy for what I wanted, where I want to exit.
So you are in real estate now, and now you've been pretty heavy. I've been watching you. I mean, you were at one firm, now you're at another firm.
Yep.
And I don't want to get into why and all that jazz, but so you've been on this plan for a while, and you're just making income, providing for your family, having children.
Yeah.
You have 1 daughter, 2 daughters?
I have 3 kids. I have two boys and a little girl who's 3 months old now.
I think I saw the little baby.
Yeah.
So, and does your wife work?
No, she stay at home, gets to be.
So your business, real estate business, is functional, and it's making money.
Yes.
And then, okay, so how long do you want to pursue? What's your goals for that? Do you want to invest when?
Yeah,
you're still an investor because you're flipping deals.
Yeah, I still flip about 5 deals a year, 5-6 deals a year, and I buy, rehab, sell. And that actually correlates really well with being a realtor because exactly. And you can pick up buyers and you can pick up business off of it. But as far as my realtor career, I've already started growing my team, and there's 6 of us on my team right now. And within the next 5 years, I plan to step out of the business altogether. So I'm not building a realtor. Realtors typically build jobs. You build yourself a job.
Yeah, you're out. You can't pay.
I'm building a business. I'm setting the systems and processes in place up. And then it's a matter of plugging the right people in, and it's a business that I can step out of. I can still be an owner. I could still be a coach, which is something that I love, but I'm not going on the appointments. I'm not doing that. So that's over the next 5 years to phase out, and that's my exit strategy. So I'll still have a viable business and then be able to focus more and build more on my investment career.
So obviously you're happy. Is there been a struggle? I know obviously leaving one firm to another firm, was that a struggle in your life? Was it an educational decision? Was it network decision? I mean, I don't want to say any names.
No. And it was actually a huge positive. I loved where I worked. It was one of the hardest decisions that I ever made because I loved the people that I worked with. And I literally have 0 bad things to say about where I was. It was a great place. What I realized was I was around people that weren't as big of thinkers. And so where I moved to, way bigger thinkers. And I went from feeling like the big fish in the pond to realizing there's a lot of bigger fish out there. And I can think differently and I can act differently and I can surround myself with people who
make more money.
Well, who make more money, but are also, they're growth oriented. Like just because, to me, the bar is always moving. Like once upon a time, I remember, this is funny, at the old firm, I did 40 deals one year. And I remember thinking, I made it. Like I made it. I can kick back. I made 40 deals. I'm in the top X%, and like I'm a big deal. Now I'm doing, like, this last year I did just shy of 100 deals, and I'm going, man, I'm not even close to where I want to be. Like, so it was all a positive in that transition, actually.
So it pushed you.
Oh yeah.
Because to me, the word that came to my mind was like comfort zone, and hey, we're all good agents. We're making X amount a year, and we're paying our bills, and it's just a job.
Yep.
And it's not, and you need to make more money so you can invest.
Success is always on the other side of comfort zone. So.
All right. So, what transactions do you do now? What do you like to do? Are you, are you commercial, residential?
I do residential. I'm actually the listing specialist on our team, so I only work with our sellers. That's what I work with, because that's what I'm
convert them.
I can convert them. I can get them sold. I mean, after so many years, I know that it's a process. I walk in here, I look at the comps, I know I can sell this in X amount of days. And our average days is 24 days on market. That's
unheard of.
That's 3 times faster than the average. And that's because there is a way to
and no BS.
A repeatable process, and just see.
Well, I think you just tell them, I think if I was a realtor, I think I'd be you, because that's why I'm not a realtor, because they don't want to hear that if you want to sell this in 24 days, you're going to have to price it at this price point.
Right.
But my neighbor says his house is worth 168. I get it, lady.
Right.
And my job as a realtor is to get you 168, but it's really only worth 130 because you have one less bathroom.
Right.
And you have this broken tub and blah, blah, blah.
I always ask for permission to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So I mean, that's
that process works. They're receptive to that?
Because your friend tells you what you want to hear, but you're paying me a lot of money.
I know, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of realtors just say crap just to get the listing.
Oh yeah,
and then most realtors are trying to debunk this misconception. Oh, I didn't sell my house. My realtor sucks. It's been 6 months and nothing happened. And well, that's why, because you got lied to.
Yeah, you have to set expectations and have those tough conversations. I mean, my job is to tell you if your house smells like pee. Sorry.
Right. And let them know this is why it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
And okay, so what's your goals now? So you're happy. We got about 10 more minutes here, and I know you're on your way to a listing appointment, right?
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that really? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you said you had an appointment at 3:00, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be late for that. But what does it look like now? Like, so you're still young. You're 31, you said?
31.
And you're building a successful team. You're happy. We talked about your team off the thing, and you're happy with them. What does it look like? Where's your 5-year, 10-year goal? And what?
Yeah, so 5 years. Honestly, so this year in business, it's going to be a certain number of production that I've set, and I really want to be at 500 units sold in 5 years from now. So we're almost at 100. Our goal.
So 100 a year?
Yeah. So increase. No.
Like or a total of 1 year.
In 5 years from now, in 1 year, I want to do 500 transactions. Now, part of that will be in expansion offices, and that's a whole another thing where we're in different cities. But
you have to shoot for that high, man.
You do, and then me being stepped out and only doing coaching in 2 years. I'll be out of the appointments and into just the coaching and the running of the business, the working on the business, not in the business.
Right.
And then
nice.
And then wanting to it's really expanding more. My wife's actually an interior designer, so the flipping it really fills a lot of fun needs as well as it's profitable. So that's why we do it. And so we really want to see that part of our business increase. I'd love to be doing multiple a month at that point.
Man, I'm just impressed that you just rolled that off. I just caught you off guard, and you have a genuine 5-year, 3-year plan. I think that's why you're successful.
And it's written down. It has to be written down.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's one of those things that
you'll never attain it.
You gotta look at it. It's gotta stare you in the eyes and scare you a little bit.
I love it. Those are audacious, and I think they're possible. And I love following you and seeing where you're going to go. All right, let's wrap this up. So, what advice would you give at this point in time? Should we follow your route, be an investor first, then realtor, then back to investor? Or would you do whatever? What would you recommend or do? You know, you took the young investor route, then you got married and became a realtor, and then you have a plan, a 5-year exit strategy, focus more on investing after you build your business, which is investing because you have a successful business that you're running.
Right.
So what advice would you give someone now and around 20 years old? Because you asked me that. And
yeah.
That's why we had to hit pause, ladies, gents.
So 20, you know, you're 20-year-old, and it doesn't even have to be 20. It's I guess where you are now. That's the best place to start, right?
Anyway.
So I think it's going to be the best advice I could give is do it. Like paralysis by analysis is a real thing. Like get out there and just do it. You won't have all the answers. You will be scared, and that's okay. Do it. If you fail, you only fail if you don't learn from it. Mm-hmm. So go do it. That's going to be one. And that I don't think you have to go down the realtor side. In fact, I would say that for most people, that's probably the wrong decision. Do I regret it? Not at all. That's the decision I like. But I would say that for most people, man, go right into, maybe it starts, you know, there's a progression when you look at investors, there's a progression. It starts with wholesaling, then it's like a fix and flip, then it's a buy and hold. Then it's multi-units, then it's bigger multi-units, then it's commercial. You kind of see this J curve in investing, and not that you have to follow that. It kind of seems like a natural progression as you learn. So you got to get out there. You got to be learning based. You got to find a mentor that's going to be able to help you get to step 1 through 3. And it's okay to grow out of your mentors. Like that mentor that gets you from steps 1 to 2 may not be able to get you from step 4 to 5. And
I love it.
Always have that mentor. And I feel like you should always be pouring into somebody else too.
This is awesome. I'm going to cut you off because I know you got to go, but let's talk about your phone number. And, you know, I really think there's someone out there that maybe could, you know, I know that you were at Keller Williams and you get a percentage if someone comes under Keller Williams, right? I love their compensation package.
They have a competition package.
Competition. Okay. Don't say competition. Competition.
Profit share.
Yeah. Whatever. So let's give people your phone number or your email or just your email. And so people can reach out to you that are at any age. Yeah. And if you have interest in real estate, if you're in Norman, that's where you kind of live and breathe. I live.
South side is most of what I do. I mean, I work all over, but I'm up here on the north side right now, but I'm all over. So the Oklahoma City metro, but Norman specifically is where I live. My phone number is 405-435-5284. And then my email address is pretty simple. It's taylor@taylordavesteam.com.
Okay. TAYLOR at taylordavesteam.com.
Yep.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, reach out to this guy. I'm telling you, I've known him for 11 years. Haven't seen him in 11 years. I've been following him on Facebook, and you should too. You should get to know him. If you have a house for sale, please reach out to him, especially in that market down there. And one last question. So I see if you answer this one. What is a book that you've read? Not Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, I'll stay away from that one because everyone says that, right?
No, because when we were off tape, you said it.
Yeah,
on the other tape. What's a good book? Let's see if you'll say it because it's involved with the Keller Williams. What book is a really good book that you've read?
And there's a bunch. I would say that. For an investor.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, I'll tell you. Gary Keller. Keller.
Millionaire real estate agent?
I have not read that one.
Shift?
Keep going. It's a blue book.
Oh, buy and hold?
That's a yellow one.
Oh, is it?
Millionaire real estate investor.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
I'm going to be real. I've read all the other ones that I just spouted off, but I haven't read that one.
All right, great. This is awesome. We're live and you're going to go get that on Audible.
Oh, yeah.
On your way down from here to Norman, 30 minutes. Call your wife. Say, I just had the most amazing interview of my life, and it's going to come out. But after you call her,
this guy who has just the smoothest voice.
Yeah. But bro, your 5-year plan is about to change. You're going to cut it down, and you're going to get back into it hard.
Okay.
That has been I never have ever talked about it until today.
Really?
It's the Secret Weapon book. You know, that's Earp's favorite book, and that's the book Earp told me to read. Is Millionaire Real Estate Investor. It's blue by Gary Keller.
Yeah.
It is a classic in my little circle that I never really share. And I felt you would know that.
Well,
because you're
Yeah, I mean, I've read his other books, and I'm a big believer. What I love about his books is they're data driven. He's high C, and so they're.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, they're very.
I mean, he's built
data-driven.
a phenomenal organization, and I visited with Mo Anderson before, and she's a very special person too, and I think you're in the right organization, in general. But anyway, any last thoughts?
I love pouring into other people, and I'm like, I was excited that you put my contact information out there, because if there are other real estate investors or people that are interested in getting into real estate, I love to have a conversation with them, just because I think that's what
happened to you. I mean, you are wealthy today because your tenacity. I mean, 20 calls. It reminds me of a Les Brown story that he really wanted to be a DJ, and the guy said no, and then the next day he would show up, he would say no, and it went on for weeks. The guy got so angry with him, go get me some coffee, and then he became this errand boy, and it's just phenomenal what you can do, and then when I heard that story, it just helped me, because I know your mentor, or your first one, and he mentored me, and it's just a fascinating story, and I think you have a heart. I love that you said coaching about 3 times through this interview, and I'm like, man, this guy is incredible. You have so much to give, and you've received so much too, and I think you know, and you just never know. So if you are in a space, definitely drive to Norman, definitely take this man out to lunch and get to know him, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. I know some investors down there that would love to just network, and you never know, you may get a listing. All right, appreciate your time, man.
Thanks, Stephen.
All right.
Investor Weekend is not far off, with over 10 information sessions to increase your portfolio. Log on to www.investorweekend.com. Whether you are a seasoned investor or never purchased a property before, you don't want to miss the Investor Weekend. Join us for a powerful, knowledge-packed weekend with over 10 informational sessions that are bound to enlarge your real estate investments. You will hear from the best national and local real estate investors that will share practical and relevant experiences with you, the investor. There will be several networking sessions to connect with other like-minded people for potential funding, partnerships, and yes, hot deals. Go to www.investorweekend.com. Did you know we meet once a month for the Landlord Lunch Meeting? The third Wednesday of every month. Go to landlordlunch.com.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.